Good morning, guys. Today is quite a relaxed day. I'm sitting here, Poik is prating away, so it's a Sunday and I'm doing my final preparations for quite an important match. It is the national trials feeder fishing, but it is the freestyle feeder fishing or method feeder fishing as we know it. Now South Africa is hosting it in December, so the trials will take place now in March, and I'm busy preparing for that. So I'm just going to talk you through a couple of important things that I think is important and how I prepare. Later on during the week I'll also take you through the training days, how it's going, what is happening, just to get us a little bit of a story going on. What are the things to do, how do we learn, what are important for me. Firstly, going to Bloemhof made me quite excited because we went to a certain place, or it was planned for a certain place at Bamboos, but it has now changed because of the accessibility and the problem with all the rain. We're going to a completely new place. It is the Northwest Park side, just next to the bridge of the Wipstad Road. I've never fished there before, so I have got no idea what to expect. I don't know what the depth of the water is, I don't know how far we should fish. I've got absolutely no information to go on. So almost going to a new venue. The only thing that I know, it's Bloemhof. So let me take you through how I prepared. Now, going to a completely new place, you need to be well prepared, but you can be over prepared. So I needed to be well prepared, have everything for every possible situation, but not have a lot of clutter. So I needed to keep it simple, and I need to keep it effective. So first I'm going to start with the rods. Well, I need to look at a couple of scenarios in terms of what can we end up fishing for. I think we are going to fish for mainly carp, and might be smaller carp in the morning and bigger carp in the afternoon, in a range of different distances. But if the barbel are on, you must be able to catch them, and if those small grass carp comes in the numbers, you need to be ready for them as well. Okay, so how have I prepared and what have I selected and why? Okay, I'm going to start. I have selected a range of rods. Now what you see here is duplicated, so every rod here has got the other part of the pair. So I've got two of each of these, except this one. Okay, so I'm going to go through it. So I've got 4 pairs of rods plus one that is different. So the first set of rods that I have selected the Team Feeder Gold series. Now this is a rod by Gabo Dimmer, and it is distributed by Tackle Pro South Africa. This is a top-end rod, hence I only have 2 of them because of the affordability, but it's really a top class rod. It was developed when Hungary won the World Championships now. So I have 12, these rods are 12-foot rods, and I need them to fish in close. You can probably comfortably fish up to about 70 meters of it, but I think that 45 to 60 is probably the best place for this. It's a medium rod, but it is light and it's quite fast, but it's got a medium tip. If you look at the specs, it is a 30 to 65 grams. So you can fish reasonably light, very accurate and very fast with it. I was actually shopping around a bit to get the right reel for this specific rod, and what I ended up buying is the Kuma Inception 6000. This is actually a small specimen reel, and the reason I selected it is because it's very fast. If you look at the gear ratio, it's over 5 and it's got a big spool, so the retrieving is more than 1 meter for every turn. So that is good for me. It's also got a long spool and the line lay is perfect. But one of the other reasons, especially fishing enclosed, that I've selected this is because of the drag system. The drag system is a quick drag. So from casting tight to playing fighting drag is a half a turn. That's it, you can see that. Just half a turn. So you can be tight casting, have a fish on, feel it's bigger, half a turn off and you're into the fighting drag. So I have 2 of these and I have spooled it with 6-pound hypersensor for the sensitivity. I have also got two spools prepared with 10-pound at 0.25 range, just if there are bigger fish, might be a bit snaggy. So these are the 2 closer in rods that I have prepared. Then these rods are the Sensation 13-foot medium feeders, the casting weight of 30 to 100 grams. I've been fishing with these rods for 10 years now. They are soft, they've got quite a parabolic action, and you can fish medium-sized fish very hard with it, with small hooks, because of the very soft nature of the rod, and I just love them. You can't cast very far. I might have a maximum of about 75 meters with them. On these I have a I've got a BG 4000 on. This is actually a spinning reel for saltwater, but it is such a grinder. These Daiwa reels are I can almost say indestructible. I've fished with them for quite a while now. They are not very fast, but they are powerful grinders, and it's actually made for saltwater, so they can work very, very hard. It's also got, I don't have the handle on now, but it's got a fairly big knob in terms of the handle, but I love it. The only part that I don't like about this, and it was never designed for the intention, I fish on a line clip, but these saltwater reels don't have a line clip that is heavy duty for actually clipping in. It's actually just got a line holder, so you can't clip it in multiple times or something like that, but it's a real workhorse. So I have this in for the closer in if there are big fish close in and you have to fish them hard with smaller hooks. I have Ceylon 8-pound line on here, which marks 0.23, so it's comfortable with a 15-pound leader. Then the next set of rods are the Kuma 13-foot. They are powerful but reasonably soft. So this is rated to 200 grams of casting weight, but it's a fairly soft rod. It's got backbone, but the last third you can actually fish bigger fish with it. So this is in for the, let's say, 80 to 100 meter mark, which you can fish comfortably with these rods. I've got 2 of them. And on these, I've got the Daiwa emblems. Now the Daiwa emblem is a fairly big reel with a large diameter spool, but it's a bait feeder or a bait runner. So you can cast, flip it over, especially if you're fishing bigger fish. It can run on the bait runner, especially if you set this a little bit tighter. It's actually like a fighting drag. Then you can pick it up, pick it over, go onto back wind and play it on the back wind. That's how I do it. I have 7 pound jackal line on here, and I've selected the orange because it's easy to see in the water, especially to see where your line is. So that's the combo I am fishing for, that, let's say 70 to 9500 meters. When the wind's starting to blow, it's a bit of a push to get up to 100 meters with this, but that 75 to 90 is quite comfortable to fish it, especially with a 7 pound .21 line. So I've got 2 of these. Then I'm going to skip this one for now and go straight to these. These are my distance rods. It is it's made by Spro, but it's a signature series of carb or dimmer. It's called the Royal Carb Feeder. It's a 4.2 meters, which means it's a 14-foot rod. It's made for casting. You can cast up to, well, it says 120, 160 grams, but you can really cast this, and you can fish the 100 meters to maybe 110, 115 is about my limit, but you can fish it fairly comfortable. And I've got that spooled up with a 6 pound hyper sensor. You can fish this comfortably up to 110, 115 maybe. I'm not a big caster, so it's a bit of a stretch, but the tackle, if you probably give it to somebody that can really cast, you might get up to 130 meters out of it. I also fished that with the Daiwa emblems, and I've spooled it up with 6 pound hyper sensor, and the other one, or the other spools, with 7 pound jackal. Not 7 pound, it's actually a 10 pound, but it's 0.21. That's what's on the package. It's also that orange line that I like to fish with because I can see it. So I've got 2 of these for if the fish are out there. And then I have this rod. This is also a Sensation Pro feeder. It's a 13-foot, but it's the heavy one. It's a heavy rod. It's thick, it's strong, and its rating is also up to 180 grams. So you can fish real heavy feeders with it. Also the emblem on that, but I've only got 1 of these. Now you can see that I've already put a feeding cage on there. Now in the rules of the method feeder, you have to have an inline feeder to feed with, and it must be closed on 3 sides, so you can't have just a pipe. But it must be inline. So that's one that I've already put it up, and this is a dedicated feeding rod. So I will probably never fish it. I will have it marked or clipped in on 2 distances, and in the mornings I will probably put in the bulk feed or the heavy feed with this rod only, and have it standing there to feed if I need top up. So I will not fish with it. It will always be rigged just ready for heavy feeding. I also prefer to use a similar type or a feeder rod for the feeding. Okay, so this is the setup, and it's quite a large range. And if I know by the end of the training days that we're only going to fish for smaller fish close in or something like that, let's say the grass carp comes in and you can catch 20 or 30 kilograms of small grass carp, then I'll stick to these. If I need to fish with the others, I'll stick to that. If it is important to have the whole array of rods packed out, which I hope isn't the case. I have two of these sets of stands, so I can have the light rods on one and the heavier rods on the other one, because in 5 hours time you don't have time to re-rig a rod. You don't have time to put another leader. You have to fish that 5 hours goes like that, and you really have to do well to be in that Protea team. So you need to be well prepared. So this is what I'm going with from a rod and reel point of view. Also, something that is important is you need to be ready from a landing net perspective for smaller fish, for bigger fish, and for things like barbel. So I will be going with 3 landing nets. I'll have a small one which is fairly light and a light material, so it's easy and quick to land. I'll have a slightly bigger one where I can land those 3-4 kilo carp if they come in. And then I have a specific landing net just to be there if you catch a 10 or 12 kilo barbel. If you fish for that, it's a different thing, but you will probably catch them in between if they are there. And then you shouldn't sit with a landing net that can't handle them. Okay, so that's it. Let's pack this away, and then we go over to the tackle box. It is important to keep your rods well protected. I use proper hold holes to put it in. That's my old one. And this is a new one. This is a Supera. I've spoiled myself with a Preston Supera that I got from Tackle Pro SA. And this is just the best that I've ever had. Now, just look at this. If you look at it, there are 3 compartments. Then there's one this side for a landing net handle, one that side for a landing net handle, and this one for all your tips. So here in this small one, you have all your spare tips. Spare tips, 2 landing net handles, and guess how many rods? There's 3 compartments, so you would say 3. No. 4? No. 5? No. 6. 6 rods. Look at how interesting this is. This is what they've done. In one compartment you can fit 2 rods because they've staggered them. They put a pouch there so the one can stand higher than the other one. Okay, so can you see properly? So in one compartment you can put 2 rods and the reels don't hit each other. There's a dividing I don't know what you call it, but there's this dividing piece, nice and soft, and it has some velcro there to keep it there. But these 2 reels never hit each other, and they are on top of each other. So that's a pretty cool feature. Just want to get this one sorted out as well. That's it. So in here, 6 rods and reels, well protected. Then they can't get damaged. I put them in my trailer. At the top I've got an elevated roof section in the trailer where I have these, so they're out of the way. So let's go through the rest of the tackle box. Not knowing what the venue looks like makes it a little bit more complex. So I have packed one container with line, and I have the whole range. You don't know whether you're gonna get a place that there's a lot of snags and you have to replace lines or things like that. So I've just packed it. It's not a big issue. What is important for me though is that if I have to change lines, I've got the line stripper, and I have a line mate to be able to measure what I put on, and I always have these that makes it easy for me as an individual to spool lines, because this holds your line at tension, and that's it. So it's an array of different lines and different volumes. In this bag, there's just a couple of extras. So I've taken out, in terms of feeders, what I think I'm going to need in my tackle box or in my seat box, and I've just got a bit of spare stock in a box at the bottom of that, where I also have my hooks. So I have already prepared the hooks, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like now. But I always take, this is my kit if I sit at night and I need to tie more hooks. Everything in here will allow me to do that. So in here I've got the important things, like a hook tire, a loop tire, different types of loop tires, scissors, pliers, and all those type of things that you need for that. Then all the different types of hooks that you might need. Some of them are pre-tied, others are not. With method feeder or freestyle feeder fishing, you're only allowed barbless hooks, so you can't fish barbed hooks. So everything in here, or mostly, is barbed hooks. I also have a micrometer in here. So if I don't know what I'm dealing with and I need to be exactly sure what line I'm dealing with, I have a mic for that. Okay, so this is my spare hook tying box. Then now let's get to the seat box. So this is the seat box. I try to keep it as empty as possible to make it light and easy to handle at the water, but you always have to have whatever you need in here. So if I open it, it comes off in layers. So the first layer is just basically the bigger feeders and my hooks. I have 3 hook pouches. The one with longer hook lengths, like that, where it can be up to 250, so I have longer hook lengths. Then I have shorter hook lengths, and the shorter hook lengths comes in a couple of categories. It's all hair rigged, so these are the bayonet types and these are the elastic types. So for this you need to have the rubber band over a pellet or a floaty or something like that. And here are the bayonets that you can just push into a little boilie or a wafter. Then the next one is all the speed stops. So all the hooks in here have got speed stops. So you can just push it through whatever bait you're fishing, maybe maize, maybe floaty, maybe a pellet. In the second layer, I have the method feeders, and there are 3 different weights: 25, 35 and 45 grams. I do have the heavier, larger 55s here. I don't fish with anything larger than 55 or heavier for that matter. And then there are a couple of lines if I need something on the box, and I've got some open space if there is anything during the time that I just need to put here to store. Okay, then there are a few drawers. This drawer I use quite a lot, so it can slide out on both sides. I know on the left hand side, if I'm sitting on the box, I've got all the tools, things like worm needles, scissors, pliers, side cutter, things like that, and it's easy to slide out on the left hand side. In the middle here I've got some plumbing weights, and then on the right hand side here I've got all the accessories. Now, what accessories are important? I do have a stopwatch on my box on one of the legs that I use, but this is a second one that I can have in hand. When I'm plumbing, I can count down the time, so it's easy to do. Cast You can see, okay, about 1.5 meters deep. Then in here, the important things, I have, this is the pin that you apply the speed stop with. This is the elastic bander, so you open the bands so that you can put something in there, some bait, and then a couple of drills, etc. if I need to drill through a wafter or a small boilie. Then a couple of boxes with the feeder accessories. These little pipes go through the feeders. I have different lengths of them, and then the different type of attachments that you use for that, to apply your hook line to. So all the different types are in different places, so that you always know that there's a place for everything and everything is in its place. So same, there are a couple of small accessories and snap swivels and things like that that you might use. There are also a few things in here that I will most probably not know, that I will definitely not need for this feeder trial, because these are classic feeder equipment, like this, to attach your feeder that slides on the line. But we don't use this in method feeder, this is for classic feeder. But I never take it out, it's got a place in my box. It doesn't matter what type, I normally just change this if I go for a classic feeder match. I will just replace this with classic feeders. Then my drawers are always, it's in front of me, it's easy to open, so everything that I use a lot is in here. So let me start on this side. Here are just a couple of the smaller feeders. These are pellet feeders. So I have them in here. And then I have a loop tire, disc gorges. Now the disc gorges have a knot picker as well. So if I have a, van 'n kraaines, I can just use the knot picker to do that. What you use on the box a lot as well is nail clippers. On the other side, I also have, here are a couple of banjo feeders to fish in close. Lip ice, that is, and it's sunblock lip ice, which is always important. Keep your lips moist and also keep the sun out. Nothing as bad if you're fishing a 6 or 7 day stretch and by day 4 or 5 your lips are all blistered and everything. You need to protect it from the beginning. Then I have a couple of different markers, black ones, thick points, thinner points, depending on what you want to do. And then I have a wax crayon. Now the wax crayon, and you'll see how this is being used already, is to mark my line, so where I'm casting. So that's my seed box, and that is what you need in terms of preparation. So I feel I have now prepared for most of the different circumstances that I've got absolutely no idea of in terms of how it will pan out. I think I've covered a wide range and I haven't overcomplicated it. So I've got everything in each different type of scenario without cluttering too much. I've kept it simple. I have minimized the weight I'm carrying around on the box, and I'm ready for most circumstances. Now, you guys know fishing. Just when you think you prepared, something else happens, and we'll deal with that as we go along. So on my first day, when setting up, I'll just take you through the setup and how I'm set up for preparing during the training days. So I'll keep you posted. I will, on a daily basis, I'll then recap everything that something changes. I'll put down the strategy for the day, everything that I've learned. So I'll capture the learning points as we go along. And then on the 3 final fishing days, I will give you the results, see how we've done, adjust if we have to adjust, and I'll put all of that together for you in a nice package to see that we can maximize learning. Now remember, this might be feeder fishing, but the thought process in any type of fishing is the important one, is how you think about the scenarios, how you prepare for scenarios, how organized are you, how you reason while you're going through that. And one thing that I've learned in all the years of fishing is that you're never too old to learn, you never know everything, and once you believe you've got it under control, something changes. So be aware of that, stay humble, and make sure that you think about every single thing that you do while preparing and while fishing. Look at that, look at that, it's going, it's going. Ah, fish on. Wow, wow, look at that. Oh, look at the hook holes. Small little Ervik.